Anya.
Hello.
We are live. I get so excited when you come on the live. I'm not sure. Hi, Shri. Thanks for showing up. All right, so I don't know if that Shri knows. However, this is Anya's third time. So I have had guests on 2 times, right? There's been a few that have been on twice. So you get the prize for being a guest 3 times.
A medal, gold medal.
Gold medal. Yeah, but we're not competitive in this family, are we?
No.
So I do want to welcome anybody who's popping in. Please make a comment. Yes, thank you, Rachel. Where you're calling in from, let us know that you're here. We don't know you're here unless you make a comment. So if you want to be a fly on the wall and not let us know, that's okay. Otherwise, please chime on in and please be a part of the conversation. So a huge hello to Shri, huge hello to Rachel, and hello to Karen. She's somewhere over Tennessee, so she's on an airplane. Shri says, hi, Anya. So for anybody new, Anya actually has an in for going live because she is my youngest daughter. So Anya is in the family and so grateful that she'll go live with me. I've actually asked your sister to join us today and I thought that would be really fun if it was the 3 of us. And one guess what she said. Well, obviously she's not here. So what?
She said no.
No. She's like, I will for $13,000. I'll come on for $13,000. And the reason she picked $13,000 is they just got a quote for their backyard. Yes, look at that. Yes, and it's $13,000 just to do sod and grass in their backyard.
Oh, they can do that themselves then.
Yeah. Yep. I think that was motivation.
Yeah, that's tough.
Yeah. Okay, so for anybody who's new on the show and hasn't seen Anya go live before, she has shared some phenomenal stories. The first one, part 1 of Anya, was her accident when she went to Hawaii. And then part 2 is when you went back to Hawaii and wanted to reclaim your strength and power and ran a marathon for your first time.
Yes.
Right? So that was part 2. So this is part 3. So obviously you get to share some things. But one thing I want to brag about today is in 3 weeks, so we're a little bit off because we both have been business owners starting our own businesses for about a year. So my anniversary is March 1st. Mm-hmm. Your anniversary is May 1st, right?
I don't know if it's May 1st. I have to go back and look when we officially launched the business. I'm in the first week of May though.
Okay, so I'm going to pop up some graphics just to celebrate. Let's see if I remember how. Okay, bear with me. There, it did. It worked. Shri, aren't you proud of me? Shri is a video producer.
Oh, cool. Okay.
Right? Mm-hmm. So you've been in business almost a year, right? Business owner, you and Chris. So hop on in, share a wonderful story about being in business for yourself after 1 year and some bumps and bruises.
Yeah. I mean, what most people say about owning their own business is you don't work for anyone else. And so you can make your own schedule and, do things that you wouldn't normally be able to do if you were working a 9-to-5 job. And so I think just having that is a huge bonus for me. I just thrive in the outdoors and sunshine and like being outside. And so being able to just go for a swim at 2 o'clock in the afternoon feels amazing. If I'm like in the kitchen doing granola at 4 a.m. So it's nice to kind of like be the reverse super early in the morning. And then I kind of have like my whole day to myself. So that's a huge bonus. Something that I never take for granted for sure with owning my own business. And then as well, like the opposite side of things, there are always challenges. There's always new things that I'm learning. We're always being thrown curveballs and we're always being challenged. Just recently, we rent space in a commercial kitchen. So it's not our building. It's not our personal kitchen. We just rent this time to be in this kitchen that's shared with others. small business owner. Beautiful and wonderful in its own way, but that also comes with its own challenges. And unfortunately, our kitchen manager just lost the lease. So we're dealing with what's going to happen. Where are we going to go? We have 25,000 packages with the address of this kitchen on them. So what are we going to? We're just taking it day by day at this point and just hoping for the best.
Yeah. So have you found a new place yet? Or are you going to buy a place? What's going to happen?
Definitely not going to get our own place. It's really expensive. So our kitchen manager, this is her livelihood. This is what she does. So she's working really hard to find a replacement kitchen. So we're just going to stick with her and hope that it works out. If it doesn't, we do have other kitchens in our back pocket.
Mm-hmm.
So after right from the beginning and reached out to other commercial kitchens just in case it didn't work out with where we currently are, but it's really expensive, and where we are now is a wonderful deal and it works great for us. And so we're hoping that we can just stick with our current kitchen manager, but if not, we do have other.
Okay. So that's obviously a bump in the road, right? As you own your own business and you're leasing space.
Yeah.
How about customers? Good, bad, and ugly. Come on. You don't have to name names.
So we still predominantly farmers markets. So it's really cool. Hi, Gretchen. It's really cool because we're seeing our customers every weekend, and we have some that come to us every week or every other week, depending on, how many packages they buy during the weekend. And they just have so many amazing to say, such kind words. And, we have people tell us like, I can't get other granola now. I can only get your granola. And I love that it's, gluten-free, or I love that it's organic, or I love that it's vegan. So we tried to be really inclusive of all the diet types. And it's nice that when we received feedback from people saying like, that's exactly what they were looking for. So we have this small following now, which is really cool. And, if I end up not being at a market and Chris does it, my partner, people will be like, oh, like, where's Anya? Or tell Anya I say hi. So it's really cool. And people do, if I do a market that normally Chris does, they'll be like, oh, where's Chris? Or tell Chris I say hi. So it's cool that we kind of have this community now. With selling face-to-face, though, you do get people at the same time who may not like your product when they try it, or balk at the prices, and it's not a price that everyone can afford, and we can appreciate that. And so we do receive negative feedback to our faces every weekend as well. So it definitely took a long time to get used to that for me personally. I take everything really personal to heart. So.
Yes. Well, you are a walking heart, right? I mean, I always say Anya's a walking heart. So yes, I remember, when you'd come back afterwards, or you'd call me afterwards and be sad or upset because somebody, said something nasty to you or complained about the pricing or something. However, I've also watched you grow, and there's stores that are consistently reordering your product, and new stores that want your product. So that's the focus.
Yeah, I think we have one local store that we're in. And really cool to hear feedback of, I go in to restock them with the granola, and they say like, we have people who come in and specifically ask for your product. And so it's really cool because when you're doing farmers markets, you get to have that positive and negative feedback all the time.
Right.
But when you're selling to a store, you just drop it off and you don't get customers. And so to keep going back and to hear positive feedback from the employees is really cool, because that's the one downside to no longer selling just at farmers markets, is you don't get to touch those people individually. It's just what it is, Yeah.
Okay. So I'm going to share a funny story, and I don't know if you know this or not, or maybe, I don't know. So you were in a store, remember? I don't know. This is maybe obviously not quite a year ago, but you, me, Chris, we went out to dinner, and then you wanted to show me that you were in Oceanside, right by the beach.
Yeah.
You were in a store, and you wanted to show me that you were on the shelf.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then, so that evening I bought, a bag of granola that night, right? And left. So I don't know if you know this or not, but I went back the next day and bought all the granola.
Did you really?
Almost all of it, not all of it, but I bought like 4 bags. Yeah.
Oh, really? That's funny. That was expensive. They really marked that up.
They really marked it up, right? So that was, more than I normally get when I buy direct from you. But I did. I went back the next day and bought like 3 or 4 bags of granola.
Thank you. Yeah, that's another thing that we had to learn too, was when we first started, we didn't realize just how much the wholesale difference was. And so we learned our lesson. Our first couple accounts, we overcharged. And so we lost those accounts, but now we're in different accounts, and it's definitely a lesson learned in that one too.
Yeah, I'm paying double for granola. So if you ever wonder, does my mom love me? Just remember that story.
Yeah, that's funny.
Yep. Okay, so what else is going on new? What else, or does anybody have a question for Anya? Please shout out any questions that you might have for Anya. A lot's been going on in your life.
Related.
It doesn't have to be granola related,
no.
Right? It could be marathon related, or Anya got a new dog related. I have a new grand pup, Malibu. Yeah. I miss Malibu. So I'm in Oregon. Anya's in Oceanside, California, where my home is, but I'm visiting my oldest daughter. So daughter number 1 up here with the grandbaby, and I'll be back in a month. So I miss Anya. So this is cool that we are live. Might have to go extra long today. All right. So what else is going on? What else have you learned, or what else is going on? I know you had an earthquake. Oh, tell us about Malibu. So Gretchen has the most amazing dog, by the way. Okay. So tell us about Malibu. Is she around?
No, she's not. Newman wants to know. Malibu, we rescued Malibu back in September of last year. She is a pit mix, which, I'm going to be completely honest, terrified me at the shelter. I've never owned a pit bull or a pit mix before, but I have never had a dog that has loved me as much as Malibu loves me. It's just the sweetest thing. She's a bundle of energy, but she just has unconditional love for Chris and I, and it's just the sweetest thing. So she's definitely kind of like an emotional support dog whenever I need her, and we exercise together, and she loves going to the beach and rolling in the sand. And we've had a lot of rain this year in California, so there's a lot of like lakes behind our house now in the fields, and she loves just to go and run in the water, and she'll run in the water and then she'll come out and she just like sprints. So it gives her energy, which gives me energy too. So it's kind of cool. She's like my spirit animal. So it's fun.
Yeah. So I do know that Charlie, my dog, misses Malibu, because 2 or 3 times a week we'd get together and they'd go play in the dog park that has this huge trail and they can run around, and then there's creeks and mud puddles that the 2 of them would get into, get all dirty and everything. So I know that Charlie misses Malibu, but yeah, Malibu is a phenomenal dog. And if anybody wants to see pictures, I know they're all over Instagram.
Yeah. She's sweet. She's still learning. She's still kind of a pup. We got her. She was 1.5 years, so she's about now. She's still kind of learning how to play nicely. She loves to like grab dogs' legs from the behind, and a lot of people don't like that. So we're trying to teach her to not do that.
Yeah. Yes. Well, she does like to nip at Charlie's ankles, or whatever you call them on a dog. Okay. So I'm going to ask you a coaching question, and you only need to share what you're comfortable sharing, but obviously, everybody knows I'm a coach. Gretchen's a coach. Some people on the show have been coached by me. I've been coached by Sheree. So obviously we have a coaching community. What has coaching done for you? And obviously not a whole lot for me.
Yeah. So I got coaching. I'm trying to think back. So I did receive coaching 2021, I want to say it was like, yeah, it was like around 2021. So I was still in a corporate position, but I was feeling pretty, and so coaching really helped. It's not like I had this like magical aha moment at all during like coaching, but I think I got a lot of clarity
Mhm.
on about myself. And I think coaching is all about like inner dialogue. At least for me, it was a lot about like my inner dialogue and how I talk to myself and how I think about myself. And I think coaching really helped me separate the two. It's almost like the negative things that you can say doesn't necessarily mean that's who you are. It's like a taking a step back and almost like it's two different beings. It's not the same person, if that makes any sense. So I think just learning more about myself and how I talk to myself and the way that I think about things that I do, processing information and feelings, I think are the biggest things I got from coaching.
Yeah, and Gretchen will attest to this, and I do this, with all my clients is, checking in on mindset. And when we first start coaching, I want to know where their mindset is. So mindset is key. And I don't know anybody who walks on this earth that doesn't sometimes have a negative voice that might say, like for me, I might say, what are you thinking? You're too old to do this, right? And then like what you said, I take a step back, realize that's not the truth, right? That might be something that pops up, but I don't have to believe it. I don't have to embrace it. And I have to remind myself and find my inner strength. And my inner strength is all around Wonder Woman, right? I miss my Wonder Woman background, and when I'm home on lives, I have a big print of her in the back. So yeah, finding that inner strength is so important. And Gretchen says yes, right? And yes, Gretchen's a coach that coaches on mindset. And Rachel, knows mindset is everything, huh? Yes, where we start, right? It's not everything. It's not going to make us successful, but we have to start with our mindset. And then obviously there's action steps and things to do to grow our businesses. And I know Rachel's a business owner. So we have a lot of business owners on the call today. And yeah, mindset's is key for sure.
But I think also too, like people can say, mindset is super important, and I 100% agree, but it's not as easy as just saying like mindset. It's so difficult. And I think that not a lot of people touch on that it's really hard. And you might have days that your mindset is great and you're feeling 100%, but then the next day you just feel not good. And I think that a lot of times people don't address those things and they just show the days that are great for them. And I think that we need to bring more awareness around the days that aren't good and how do we get through those. Versus mindset is everything, and like it's it's so important, but like what do we do on the days that we don't feel like it's good?
Yeah. And yes, and I have super bad days, and my mindset will creep in and say, "Oh, Tanya, what are you thinking?"
Yeah.
Right. So share some of the things you do. I know what I do, and I'll share, but you go first. What are some of the things you do when you have a bad day?
I think it's different. I try to be really in tune with how I'm feeling, both mentally and physically. I'm feeling mentally really down, then I'll do something that's physically really challenging. If I'm feeling physically really worn out, that definitely strains my mental health as well. So I'll just have a day where I'm, what people might say like a couch potato, but I'll just kind of take a day where I just really listen to my body, and I might take a nice long bath, or I might go and get like a really yummy veggie sandwich from my favorite shop or something, and just try to be more relaxed with what I'm doing physically to kind of build back that health.
Yeah. Yes. And for me, it's a walk on the beach for sure. For me, it's also sometimes leaning into my coach or listening to a podcast, so I have my favorite podcast that I listen to. I like Mel Robbins. I like Brene Brown. I like Ed Millett. So I have certain podcasts that I will lean into to listen to help, because just saying just do it doesn't work with mindset as with anything else. I mean, I wish we were all Nike commercials and can say just do it. It doesn't work that way. Yeah. So having a plan to how to kind of get recentered is important.
And it looks different for everyone. Like, you didn't say anything that I said, and I didn't say anything that you said.
No.
So it's so funny. It all looks so different for everyone.
Yes, it does. And I wish I had a big bathtub like you, but I don't, right? So bathtub's not one of my things. But no, and it probably wouldn't be even if I had it, right? So it is not a one size fits all proposition. Okay, so I ask everybody this question too, and you've been asked it twice, and you've answered it differently both times. So here's the third time I've asked you, what's your next chapter? I mean, you're only a 1 year in business owner, right? So there might not be big things, but there might be. What's your next chapter? What do you want to share?
So I think there's a couple different chapters in different aspects of my life. For the Nutty Duo, we're in a very big transition phase right now, where we are hiring employees. So we actually have a couple employees that are starting to do the farmers markets for us, which is really awesome, because they're better at selling than I am. Like, even though I'm the owner of the business, they have higher sales than I do. And I think, one, recognizing that is a big step.
And admitting it out loud is a big step.
Admitting it a big step. I'm too nice, I think, is what people tell me. But so that's really cool. So we have employees working for us, which is awesome. They're really nice girls. And then I haven't really told anyone this either, or I guess not either, but this is new. Chris and I are just now, potentially with the kitchen fiasco, is moving to a co-packer. So essentially, we wouldn't do any of the baking or the packaging or the sealing. It would just be 100% a separate business, that it's still the Nutty Duo, but it's just made under a different company, which would be huge, because it's business is running without us at that point. So it's very scary, and we don't know if we're there yet, but that's definitely something that we're considering going to.
That's cool. Yeah, I did not know that. So I don't know anything about that. That is out of my realm. So my best advice is to talk to a lot of people.
Yeah, it's interesting. It's scary too, because you don't want the integrity of your product to change. And I feel like I'm the only one that bakes it right now. Chris helps me prepare it, but I'm the only one that's like there watching the granola every minute to make sure it doesn't burn.
Yeah.
And I don't want that to still be the same product that it is when I make it. So that's the business side of things. So we're doing all of this because personally, I want to take my life in a separate direction. Not entirely, it's still the same realm, but I want to go back to school and get my master's in nutrition, with a program that also at the same time allows you to sit for the RD exam at the end of the program to become a registered dietitian. So food obviously is a huge passion of mine, and nutrition and health, and I think just overall wellness too, not just, is really important to me. So I'm excited to, take that next step, and that's kind of where my personal life is headed right now.
That's exciting. That one I did know. Yep. And I can't wait to see that next chapter, because I know, not just because I'm your mom, because I see your passion around nutrition and, how it affects us as humans, and, exercising. And you've been super sensitive too. It's like, okay, so mom's past menopause, this mom needs more of this, right? It's right. Again, it's different phases of your life, not a one size fits all thing. And you've been very sensitive to that, and you are amazing. So yeah. So a few more weeks you should hear. Yeah.
Yeah, it was supposed to be this week. It was actually supposed to be by yesterday, but I emailed them to follow up. And I guess the program director that personally oversees all applications without 6. So there's a delay in hearing back, unfortunately. So
Breathe.
no.
Well, I'm glad you followed up.
And I mean,
all right. So well, that's parts out of your control, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's still nerve-wracking though.
Mm-hmm.
The waiting game.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So we are just about 4:30. If anybody has any more questions or has a question, please add them before we sign off. And you already kind of shared, you know, what you do to get centered plan. You shared your next chapter. You know how grateful I am when you hop on. One of my favorite shows is when you hop on, right? So Jay, hi Jay, saying nice job. Yeah, mama proud. Anything else you want to add, Anya, as you're thinking about celebrating your 1 year as a business owner and then starting a new chapter, hopefully, you know, getting your master's? Anything you want to share about any stories or lessons you've learned through all of this?
I think, thanks, Rachel. I think just recently I don't know if I was just reading something or if I was listening to something that talked about, you know, making changes to your journey, your path, like what you're doing, whether it, you know, a career change, or maybe you're in college and you're making a change in your education. There's nothing wrong with making changes. I think, you know, you're just still learning and you're growing and you're learning more things about yourself. And so I just thought that it was really powerful because I've gone through a lot of changes and I'm still pretty young. And so I'm hard on myself sometimes. And I wonder what other people think when they see that I'm going from, you know, I had a passion for HR and then now I'm doing granola, but now I want to go back to school. And so from the outside perspective, it might just seem like being from thing to thing. But I think there's a beauty in that as you're trying to find yourself. And so I think, like you said, you're never too old to learn something new or try something new. And you know, you're constantly changing and the world is changing. And so you want to change with it. And I think that there's beauty.
There is. And what makes me emotional, I'm doing my best not to get emotional right now, and it's going to come out in a minute because it does. Can I share your age?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so hope I get it right. You're 25 years old, right? And a 1 year business owner. I'm 60 years old, right? And a 1 year business owner. Mm-hmm. And it's awesome, mm-hmm. right? Again, at any age, 25, 60, it doesn't matter. Mm-hmm. And this is where you and I are very different. Mm-hmm. I tend to not really worry about what other people think. You know that. Mm-hmm. And you're the exact opposite. Now, I know there's people on this call right now or on this live right now who are very aware of what other people think about them. Mm-hmm. And their age is a lot different than your age, right? So here's Gretchen, 53 and a 1 year business owner. So we have a lot to celebrate. Taylor, I don't know how old you are, right? So Taylor, has 2 young kids, again, on the younger side of 60, right? Who's a 1 year business owner. Because I know what Taylor, you know, it's up to Taylor to share, not up to me to share, but Taylor is a new business owner, right? So I want to gift you with not worrying too much about what other people think. I promise mm-hmm. you, when you're 60, you're gonna look back and go, why was I so worried about what other people thought? Mm-hmm. Because for the most part, the people that know you and love you are gonna go, wow, that's really cool that she's going back to school. Not mm-hmm. that you're hopping around, right? So you're looking more at the negative side versus right. the people that love you and know you are gonna support you. Mm-hmm. And if they don't, you know what I say to them.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I think too, I hear too, like, what are they? It's like everyone's so worried about themselves, and so you're thinking that other people are thinking these things, but really they're so worried about themselves that they're not even thinking about you. Which
right.
Is the it's like another.
Well, that's one way out of that. That's one perspective. Yes. For sure. and they're not in your shoes.
Mm-hmm.
And I know you're phenomenal at not judging other people.
Mm-hmm.
So the people that gravitate towards you and support you probably aren't judging you either.
Mm-hmm.
I certainly don't.
Yeah, I'm a little picky with who I surround myself with, but
yeah, and that's a good thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, there was a point I wanted to make, and I actually thought about it when I saw Jay was on the call. So I'm trying to think, how am I relating you to Jay? And I can't think of it. So as soon as you and I hang up, I know the point I wanted to make is going to come up. But live your dream, right? And everybody, that's action steps for everybody on this live right now. Go live your dream. All right, Anya, thank you for your time.
Thank you for having me.
I very much appreciate it. Don't hang up. I'm going to end. Thank you for everybody for your comments, questions. If you have any questions or want to comment afterwards, obviously this gets recorded and goes to the social media site. So don't be a stranger if there's anything else you want to say. Bye, everybody.